Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This is Joelle Simone Anthony, the Grave Woman, and I am here today to discuss the movie Aquaman and the things that I found interesting about the way that loss and grief were portrayed in the film. Now, it is my hope that by having this conversation and reviewing this film, that it will stimulate a open and honest conversation about death, loss, and grief, and that, you know, we'll just be able to talk about some current events and see how our emotional health and our emotional experiences are being reflected in the films and the movies that we watch on a regular basis. So before I get started, I want to go ahead and give a spoiler alert. I will be talking about specific details from the movie Aquaman. So if you have not already, I would suggest that you watch the movie first and then come back and watch this video. You can save this video into your library by clicking the library tab and then adding it to save later. This and any other videos that you add, including other videos of mine, will be readily available when you're ready to watch them. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Last night I went to the movies and saw the movie Aquaman, which was produced by DC Comics. So Aquaman was a very good movie. It was visually, you know, amazing. And even though this isn't a movie review, so to speak, I just wanted to give kudos to DC because the movie was just extremely visually stimulating and just beautiful. So the first character that we're going to explore is actually going to be Queen Atlanna. So Atlanna lost a lot of things very quickly in this movie. Initially, we are introduced to Atlanna when she comes up on, or she washes up on the surface during a horrible storm, and is found by Aquaman's father. And the reason that she was found on this shore is because she had lost her freedom. She had lost her freedom of choice to choose the man that she wanted to marry. And because of that, she had to leave her home, losing her familiarity, losing her comfort zone, losing her family, losing her throne, losing so many things just to escape an arranged marriage. So once she's found by Aquaman's father, Queen Atlanna, you know, falls in love. She has a child and experiences loss again when the creatures from Atlantis, or the soldiers from Atlantis, come to recover her and take her back. She loses the love of her life. She loses her son. She loses the opportunity to be a mother. She loses the opportunity to see her son grow up. Even though, you know, she had the guy in the movie who raised basically Aquaman and taught him the things he needed to know about being an Atlantean, she wasn't able to do those things for herself. So I can only imagine, for the 20 years that she was in the trenches, what she must have been going through and the pain that it must have caused her, not only to lose Aquaman, King Arthur, but to also lose her son that she had through her arranged marriage. But the thing that I love about Queen Atlanna is that through all of her loss, she became more of a warrior. She learned to fight. She had to learn to defend herself. She had to become familiar with completely different and dangerous territory, and she had to conquer. And I think that is such a powerful testament to the fact that though we experience loss, we do not have to allow it to break us. Even though it does break us down as individuals, we can rebuild and become even more powerful through our loss. So I thought that was a very, very powerful connection that they made through Queen Atlanna. The second character that we're going to talk about is Black Manta. Now, Black Manta, I'm sorry. Black Manta was a very interesting character to me because he represented the stage of grief associated with anger. He really had no innocence. If you listen to the dialogue that he and his father were having when we were introduced to them in the submarine, his grandfather had basically lost the respect and the admiration of his country, causing him to turn his back on everything that he knew was right and begin a lifestyle of a pirate, which was passed on to not only his son, but then his grandson, who was Black Manta. So he had 3 generations of just pain being passed down until it was finally on him. This all basically was represented through the loss of his father. His father basically killed himself because he was attacking Aquaman. Aquaman, I believe, would have let them live, but he wanted to shoot and try to kill Aquaman, causing something to fall on himself. And through this, Black Manta was so blinded by his rage and by his anger, he didn't understand that his father basically caused his own death, and became so vengeful that he blamed Aquaman and made it his personal business to have this vendetta that would not end without the death of Aquaman. So loss made him angry, vengeful, and bitter. He expressed his loss through destruction, lack of compassion, and did not value the lives of others. He was solely focused on revenge to the point of his own downfall. Now, if you stayed until the end credits, you will see that he did not die. I wasn't sure whether he died or not during the movie, but at the end, in the end credits, you see that he did not die. But even after everything that he had went through, even after King Arthur was named, you know, King of the Sea and Master of the Sea and all that great stuff, Black Manta's rage and anger due to the loss of his father and the death of his father was still blinding him to the point that he's still seeking revenge on Aquaman. So I'm interested to see where that goes in the next film. But that just spoke a lot to me of the anger stage of grief. And the message that I got from that is to not be so blinded by our anger and loss, which is a completely natural reaction to a loss. But just don't become so blinded by it that you self-destruct through vengeful, bitter, and just self-destructive behavior. So the last character that I want to talk about for this review is Aquaman. So Aquaman experienced a few losses. Even though he was the hero in the movie, he lost his mom, and he believed that she was dead. This caused him to want to protect and defend others. Now, if you remember the scene in the movie when he and his classmates were in the aquarium, he was being picked on, right? And the shark responded by trying to break the glass. Even though the gentlemen or the small boys were picking on him, his natural instincts began to kick in as part Atlantean, and he telepathically communicated with the shark in order to stop him from breaking the glass and protect those who were also in the room, including the guys that were bullying him. So I thought that was very interesting. His loss of his mom also caused him to lose his culture, his identity, and also confidence in himself. In the movie, Aquaman was portrayed as this big, sexy, bulky, huge guy. But he also was very unsure of himself because he couldn't fully identify with the part of his life associated with his mother, and he knew that it was missing. That was also a very, very interesting aspect of the movie. And we learn that his trainer, let me look up his trainer's name, I'm so sorry. Okay, so Aquaman's trainer, Nudius Volko, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he had the connection to his culture and his identity from his mom's side through Nudius. I'm just gonna call him by his name because I feel like I'm butchering his name. William Dafoe. So Aquaman's trainer, which was portrayed, whose character was portrayed by William Dafoe, was the bridge that connected the part of his identity that he couldn't fully connect with because he was internally yearning for his mother. He also lost the last thing that Aquaman lost was his privacy and freedom to choose. He was being forced into this role that he didn't want, he didn't feel worthy of, and again, even though he was this big buff gentleman and this big buff superhero that was going around saving people from the bad guys and from danger, he just was a little kid, that same little kid that wanted his mom. And in this situation, I think it was very interesting that that grief and that yearning to want to satisfy the part of his being that was represented by the loss of his mom pushed him to rise above his fears and become who he was meant to be. So I'd like to know what you guys thought of the movie. Do you agree with my assessment, with the things that we discussed in this video, and what your personal views were, if I missed anything or if you just have a difference of opinion? My name is Joelle Simone Anthony. I'm also known as The Grave Woman. You can find me at www.thegravewoman.com. Please take time to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, and comment on this video. And as always, live life, love hard, and I will see you next time.